The following story is based on true events.
My grandmother owns an old farm in Pembroke. On the top of a hill near the Ottawa River sits a small log cabin once built by my great-great-grandfather. My family goes up there for every other holiday, and time again, the same stories are always told about a menacing apparition that has been seen wandering the property. The first sighting was in the summer of '62, when my aunt was only 10 years old. That night, thunder pierced the eardrums of every living being in Pembroke. It was the sort of storm that was warm and humid. In a word, uncomfortable. There was a torrential downpour of rain, the most rain my aunt said she'd seen in years.
It was loud enough to wake the dead,
She'd often say. My aunt had been laying in the front bedroom, the one with the raven painting. She had been trying to fall asleep for hours, with no success whatsoever. As her two younger brothers lay sound asleep in the cots right next to her, the heat and sound were unbearable. She was tossing and turning, and tossing and turning, until suddenly, a streak of lightning ripped the sky in half. Her heavy eyes shot up to the window, and that's when she saw it. A shadow. No, a dark figure. It lacked the features of a human face, and yet she still felt its eyes on her. There were details that stood out. His tie, lapels, and most notably, his fedora-like hat. Afraid, she hid under the blankets in hopes that it would simply disappear. But it didn't, and it would stay that way, staring at her for an unmeasurable amount of time. My aunt eventually worked up the courage to go and tell her parents, but, tired, they told her to go back to bed.
"I'll look in the morning,"
her father had said. And he did, but there were no traces or any evidence of a person. There were no footprints or mud tracks. Nothing could be found. The apparition, my aunt had told me, towered in height. For someone to be seen from that window, they would have had to have been over 10 feet tall. Over the following years, my aunt endured relentless teasing by her family and peers. No one would believe her story. All the while, rumors echoed throughout the countryside of a man named the Mixburg Mauler, a frightening figure who'd often visit potential victims before he attacked. During Thanksgiving of 2000, a large family visit to my grandmother's farm brought another ghost story to light. This new sighting finally gave my aunt the vindication she had been searching for. Wide-eyed, she sat, listening intently as my parents revealed a ghost story of their own. Years after my aunt's first sighting, in the summer of 2000, a few months before Thanksgiving, my father and mother had been staying up at the farm. That weekend, there was a dog who would not stop barking. It would bark all day, and that would bark all night. My mother was convinced that it was odd, and she believed that there had to be an unusual cause. A wanderer looking to sleep in someone's barns, or maybe a cougar attacking animals in the area. My father shrugged it off. It was probably just a cat provoking them, or maybe a rabbit. The following night was brought on by a violent storm. With each clap of thunder, the cabin shook. Every noise was magnified between its thin walls. For the first time that night, the howls of the dogs were silent. My parents slept in my great-grandmother's bedroom at the back of the cabin. Around 1 o'clock in the morning, they both woke simultaneously, each believing the other to be asleep. Peering out from their bedroom and into the kitchen, a flash of lightning illuminated the silhouette of a large figure wearing a fedora-like hat. My mother, struck with sudden horror, began to shake my father desperately. My father, unbeknownst to my mother, was already wide awake, paralyzed in terror. My father attempted to speak, but he could not utter a word. After what felt like hours, but was probably only minutes, the room lit up again, and the figure was gone, almost as quickly as it had once arrived. For the remainder of the night, my parents, in fear, lay awake, the dogs now once again howling after his departure. When morning came, my mother and father searched for footprints in the kitchen and imprints in the mud. They entertained the possibilities of tricks, optics, and illusions, but couldn't find a way in which someone might appear as the figure once did. Despite their desperate investigations, it left no trace. My parents went home that morning, unwilling to stick around for another night. After hearing both stories, the Thanksgiving dinner table sat silent. There was no longer the hum of chatter and the clinks of silverware. My grandmother had grown pale. She waited some time before finally she asked both parties to draw what they had seen. Chillingly, when compared, they were entirely identical. Every detail on the fedora-like hats were exactly the same. Sitting here now and recounting these sightings, I'm certain that I can definitively rule out any traces of life. But death? That I cannot.